The ball slammed into my chest like a betrayal I didn't see coming, knocking the wind out of me mid-stride on that cracked asphalt court in the shadow of the old Ford plant. "You gonna stand there daydreaming or play like you mean it?" he barked, his voice rough as gravel but laced with a grin that hit me harder than the rebound. I caught the leather in my palms, heart pounding not from the game, but from the way his sweat-slicked tank top clung to the lines of his shoulders, eyes locking on mine like we'd been circling this moment our whole damn lives. I wasn't looking for anything that afternoon in July, hell I never was. Detroit's summer heat waves had a way of turning the city into a pressure cooker, streets shimmering like they were about to boil over. I just wrapped a brutal shift at the auto parts warehouse, muscles screaming from hauling crates of rusted steel, and all I wanted was to shake off the grime on the public court behind the rec center. It was one of those forgotten spots, chain link fence sagging under years of neglect, backboards chipped like bad teeth, but it was home. Or as close as a guy like me got to one. My name's Alex Rivera, 32, and life's been a series of left hooks since Mom died when I was 15. Dad bailed shortly after, chasing some ghost of a promotion in California that never materialized. I bounced through foster homes, learned early that trust was a luxury I couldn't afford. Ended up in the trades fixing what others broke, because at least engines and transmissions didn't ghost you at the first sign of trouble. Gay in a blue-collar world? Yeah, that added its own layer of grit. I kept it locked down, flings and dive bars on the weekends, nothing that stuck. Love? That was for saps in those Hallmark movies my abuela used to sneak me when she visited from Texas. But there he was, jogging onto the court like he owned the damn thing. A pickup game magnet pulling strays into his orbit. Broad-shouldered, mid-30s maybe, with that effortless swagger of a guy who'd played high school ball and never quite let it go. His skin was a warm olive like he'd inherited the sun from some Mediterranean ancestor, and his hair was cropped close, damp with sweat already. He wore faded gray shorts and a Pistons tee stretched tight across his chest, the kind of build that said he lifted kegs for a living or coached Little League on Saturdays. I didn't know his name yet, but in that split second, as the ball thudded back into my hands, I felt the pull like gravity shifting under my feet. We played for an hour straight. No whistle, no mercy. He was good, real good, crossover dribbles that left me eating air, fadeaways that swished clean through the net. I held my own, trash-talking in that half-Spanish rhythm I'd picked up from the warehouse crew. "Cabron, you call that defense?" He'd laugh, deep and rumbling, clapping my shoulder after a steal like we were old teammates. By the time the sun dipped low, painting the skyline in bruised purples, we were both gassed, collapsing against the fence with Gatorades from the vending machine. "Name's Jordan Hayes," he said, extending a hand still callous from God knows what. Up close, his eyes were hazel, flecked with gold, and there was a scar above his left brow, thin as a whisper. "You play like you got something to prove, Alex. What's your story?" I shrugged, wiping sweat from my brow. "Just blowing off steam. You." He took a long pull from his bottle, throat working in a way that made my pulse stutter. "Same. Coach my boys' team over in Ferndale. Keeps me out of trouble." He pulled out his phone then, a quick glance at a lock screen photo that made his face soften. 2 kids, a boy and a girl, gap-toothed grins under a backyard sprinkler. Wife in the background, blonde and beaming. The sight hit me like a cold splash. Married. Of course. Guys like him always were. We shot the shit for another 20 minutes. Pistons' latest draft picks, the Lions' eternal curse, how the city's Rust Belt soul was fraying at the edges but still worth fighting for. He talked about growing up in the burbs, scholarship dreams that fizzled into a union job at the GM plant. I nodded along, sharing bits of my own patchwork life, careful not to let the loneliness bleed through. When he stood to leave, clapping my back again. "Same time next week?" I felt a spark I hadn't chased in years. Dangerous. Stupid. But as he jogged off toward a silver SUV parked crooked on the curb, I knew I'd be back. The next Tuesday, the court was empty save for a couple of teens fumbling half-court shots. I waited, bouncing the ball idly, second-guessing the whole thing. What was I doing? Flirting with a straight-laced family man? But then his truck rumbled up, and there he was waving like we'd planned this all summer. We ran suicides until our lungs burned, then cooled down with lazy threes. This time the talk turned personal. He confessed the plant layoffs had him on edge, 8 years in, and the axe could fall any day. "Sarah, my wife, she's a teacher, steady gig but with the kids. Man, it's tight. His voice cracked just a hair on kids. And I saw the weight there, the quiet heroism of a guy holding it all together. I opened up too about losing mom to cancer, the foster shuffle that left me allergic to roots. Sounds rough, he said, not pitying, just real. His hand lingered on my arm a beat too long after a missed shot, calluses rough against my skin. Electricity. I pulled away first, blaming the heat. Weeks blurred into a rhythm. Courtside confessions under the floodlights, post-game beers at the corner taproom where the jukebox spun Motown classics. Jordan became the highlight reel of my days. His laugh echoing off the chain links, the way he'd high-five me after a swish like it was the championship game. I learned the kids' names. Tyler, 7, obsessed with dinosaurs. Mia, 5, already a soccer phenom. Sarah was the rock, he said, the one who dragged him to church on Sundays and PTA meetings on Thursdays. She's my anchor, he'd say, but there was a flicker in his eyes sometimes, a shadow when he thought I wasn't looking. One night, after a brutal loss to a group of college kids who'd crashed our court, we ended up at my apartment. Nothing planned, just one more beer that turned into 2, then 3, sprawled on my threadbare couch with the Tigers game droning on TV. The place was a bachelor's mess. Takeout boxes stacked like Jenga. A stack of unread paperbacks on Urban Decay. He didn't judge, just sank into the cushions like he belonged. We talked dreams. His half-buried one of coaching college ball. Mine of saving enough to buy a fix-up house in Mexican town. You deserve that, Alex, he said, voice low. A place that's yours. No ghosts. Our knees brushed on the coffee table, and the air thickened. I could smell his soap, clean and cedar sharp, mixed with the faint tang of sweat. My heart hammered like I'd just run a full-court press. He leaned in, or did I? And for a heartbeat our breaths mingled. Then his phone buzzed, shattering it. Sarah.
Gottarol, Mom.
Mia's got a fever. He was gone in a whirl of apologies, leaving me staring at the door, chest hollow. I told myself it was nothing. Brothers being brothers. But sleep didn't come easy that night, his hazel eyes haunting the dark. Fall crept in with crisp edges, leaves turning the court into a patchwork quilt. Our games got fiercer, like we were purging something unspoken. He'd arrive later some days, tie loosened from parent-teacher night, venting about Tyler's bullying at school or Mia's first lost tooth. I'd listen, offering gruff advice laced with empathy I didn't know I had left. In return, he'd drag stories out of me. Nights spent in juvie for hot-wiring a car at 16. The tattoo on my ribs from a drunken dare in Juarez. You're tougher than you let on, he'd say, punching my shoulder lightly. Touches lingered longer now. A hand on the small of my back during a free throw, fingers grazing my neck when adjusting my stance. Thanksgiving loomed, and he invited me over. Casual, he said. Sarah's cooking for an army anyway. I almost bailed, gut twisting at the thought of playing third wheel in their Norman Rockwell life. But curiosity, or something dumber, won out. Their house in Ferndale was the American dream distilled. 2-story colonial with a wraparound porch, jack-o'-lanterns still grinning from the yard despite the date. Inside, chaos reigned. Kids shrieking through a turkey carcass, Sarah in an apron, all warm smiles and firm handshakes. Jordan's told us all about his new basketball buddy, she said, eyes crinkling. She was pretty in that girl next door way, freckles dusting her nose, but it was her ease that got me. The way she touched his arm without thinking, like it was muscle memory. Dinner was loud. Grace said over mashed potatoes, stories flying like passes. Tyler quizzed me on dinosaurs. Mia climbed into my lap uninvited, braiding my hair with sticky fingers. Jordan watched from across the table, his foot nudging mine under the cloth once, twice accidental. The wine flowed, loosening tongues. Sarah shared how they'd met in college. A blind date gone gloriously wrong until it wasn't. He's my steady Eddie, she laughed, squeezing his hand. He smiled back, but his eyes found mine, holding just long enough to make my fork tremble. After, as I helped with dishes, she cornered me softly in the kitchen. He lights up talking about your games. Thanks for that, he's been carrying too much. Guilt gnawed at me, sharp as broken glass. I mumbled something about it being mutual and fled into the night, the cold air slapping sense back into me. What the hell was I doing, orbiting a life that wasn't mine? Winter hit like a freight train, snow blanketing the court in white silence. We moved indoors to the Y. clanging weights and treadmill confessions replacing the outdoor rhythm. Shirtless now in the locker room steam, his body was a revelation. Scars from a shop accident mapping his ribs, abs carved from discipline. I'd catch myself staring, heat rising unrelated to the showers. He'd notice, grin sly but never push. Eyes up here, Rivera, he'd tease, towel snapping my thigh. One January night after a grueling circuit, we hit the sauna. Empty mercifully. Sweat beaded on his skin like dew, and the conversation turned raw. Layoffs had hit the plant hard. He dodged the axe but watched buddies pack up toolboxes for the last time. Feels like the ground's shifting, you know? Like nothing's solid anymore. His voice echoed off the tiles, vulnerable in a way that cracked me open. I shifted on the bench, our thighs inches apart. You're solid, Jordan. To them. To everyone. The word hung heavy. He turned, eyes searching mine in the dim red glow. Not to myself. Not lately. Silence stretched, taut as a bowstring. Then soft. Alex, what are we doing here? My throat closed. Playing ball. He laughed, bitter. Yeah, ball. His hand found my knee under the pretense of steadying himself, but it stayed. Warm. Intent. The world narrowed to that point of contact, pulse thundering in my ears. I covered his hand with mine, thumb tracing a vein. Neither moved. When the door creaked, some late-night straggler, we sprang apart like guilty kids. But the dam had cracked. Text started. Late-night check-ins, memes about bad refs, inside jokes from our games. Then deeper voice notes when words failed. His voice husky with fatigue after tucking in the kids. Missed the court tonight. Mississippi this. My heart would race, replying in the dark of my apartment. City sirens wailing outside like a soundtrack to unspoken longing. Valentine's Day dawned gray, but we met anyway, the wise gym echoing with our sneakers. Post-workout over coffee in the lobby, he slid a small box across the table. Chocolate, nothing fancy, wrapped in newsprint. For the best fake date ever. He joked, but his eyes were serious. I reciprocated with a keychain whistle engraved Coach J. Corny, but it made him beam. Our fingers brushed in the exchange, and for a reckless second, I thought about pulling him into the stairwell, tasting the risk. Instead, we parted with a bro hug that pressed too close, his breath warm on my neck. Be careful out there, he murmured. Driving home through slushy streets, I wondered how long we could dance on this knife's edge before one of us bled. Spring thawed the court, green shoots pushing through cracks like hope. Our games resumed under blooming dogwoods, petals drifting like confetti. Jordan seemed lighter, the plant stabilizing with new contracts. But shadows lingered, Sarah mentioning couples counseling in passing during a group barbecue at their place. Just tuning the engine, she'd said brightly, but his jaw had tightened. One evening as the sun set in fiery streaks, we lingered after a win, balls spinning idly between us. Alex, he started, voice rough. I can't stop thinking about that night in the sauna. My breath caught. He stepped closer, the air electric. It's messing with my head. But God help me, I don't want it to stop. I swallowed hard. Jordan, you've got a life. A good one. He cupped my face then, thumb brushing my jaw, tender, terrified. Maybe I want more. His lips met mine, soft at first, then urgent, tasting of salt and stolen time. The world tilted, fireworks behind my eyes. When we broke, gasping, he whispered, "What now?" I had no answer. Only the ache of knowing we just crossed a line that might swallow us whole. Summer roared back, humid and unforgiving, turning every breath into a labored draw. The court became our confessional. Kisses traded in the blind spots of overgrown hedges, hands exploring under the guise of spotting a layup. It was madness, this secret symphony. Jordan slipping away from family dinners with excuses about coaching drills. Me counting the minutes until his truck's headlights cut through the dusk. We'd steal hours in my apartment, bodies entwined on the couch, not crossing into the bedroom but close enough to blur the lines. His touch was reverent, like he was mapping sacred ground, and in those moments, the world shrank to the press of his chest against mine, the murmur of his name on my lips. But guilt was a third wheel, silent and insidious. He'd pull back sometimes, eyes distant, phone clutched like a lifeline. Tyler's got a game Saturday, I promised. I'd nod, swallowing the jealousy that tasted like ash. He was torn, I knew. A man divided between the vows he'd made at 22 and the fire we'd ignited at 35. I love them, he'd say fiercely after one particularly heated night, pacing my living room in boxers and regret. Sarah, the kids, they're my everything. But this, you, it's like breathing for the first time. I'd pull him down then, kissing away the doubt, because what else could I do? Lie and say it was casual? It wasn't. Not for me. I'd fallen hard, the kind of love that rewires your circuits, makes the mundane electric. Waking to his good morning texts, photos of Mia's crayon art or Tyler's latest fossil find, felt like smuggling sunlight into my shadowed days. We built a parallel life in fragments. Picnics in Belle Isle Park where he'd feed me grapes under the oaks, pretending we were just buddies. Drives along the Detroit River at midnight, his hand on my thigh as the city lights danced on the water. Sarah noticed the changes, though. At a backyard cookout in June, with burgers sizzling and kids chasing fireflies, she pulled me aside by the grill. Jordan's different lately, happier but distracted. You seeing something I don't? Her eyes were sharp, not accusing but probing. I forced a laugh, flipping a patty to hide my flush. Guys just excited about the season. Pistons fever, you know? She smiled, but it didn't reach her eyes. That night, Jordan arrived late, smelling of my cologne, and the air crackled with unspoken questions. The first real fracture came in July, during a heat wave that shut down the plant. Jordan had days off, golden hours we squandered in a rented cabin up in the Porcupine Mountains, our first full weekend away, kids with grandparents, Sarah thinking he was on a guy's fishing trip. The woods were a balm, pine-scented and secluded, lake water cool against sun-warmed skin. We hiked trails lined with ferns, swam naked in hidden coves, made love on flannel sheets by lantern light. Slow, exploratory, like lovers learning a new language. He traced my tattoos with his tongue, whispering apologies for the years he'd spent blind to this part of himself. I didn't know, Alex. I swear I didn't know I could feel this alive. Lying tangled in the afterglow, stars winking through the window, he confessed the rest. The counseling wasn't just tuning. It was Sarah sensing his drift, the late nights, the emotional distance. She thinks it's work stress. God, if she knew. His voice broke and I held him as he wept, the first tears I'd seen from this unbreakable man. Am I a monster? For wanting this? No, I murmured into his hair. You're human. We're all just trying to find our way. We returned to Detroit tanned and terrified, the cabin a bubble we'd have to burst. Back on the court, the games felt charged, every steal a metaphor for the theft of time. But cracks spiderwebbed. Tyler's birthday party in August, I showed as the uncle from the warehouse, bearing a Triceratops model that lit up his face. Jordan and I stole a moment in the garage, his mouth on mine fierce and fleeting, but Sarah walked in mid-kiss, freezer bag of ice in hand. Time froze. She blinked, processing the scene. Her husband pressed against another man, my hands fisted in his shirt. Jordan. Her voice was small, shattered porcelain. He sprang back, face draining of color. Sarah, it's not. I bolted, excuses tumbling. Gotta run, traffic. Leaving them to the wreckage. My truck peeled out, heart in my throat, the city blurring into neon streaks. Texts flooded in. His panicked pleas, her stunned silence. By morning, he'd shown up at my door, eyes red-rimmed, begging me to stay quiet. She's freaking out, Alex. Thinks it's a phase, a midlife crisis. Please just give me time to fix this. Fix what? Us? Them? I nodded, numb, watching him drive away to the life I'd helped fracture. Days stretched into a cold war. Radio silence broken only by a single voice note. I love you. Don't give up on me. But doubt crept in like fog off the river. Was I the villain here, the homewrecker in a story I hadn't asked to star in? September brought football season. Jordan coaching Tyler's Pee Wee League with forced enthusiasm. I kept my distance, burying myself in overtime shifts. The warehouses clang a merciful distraction. But the court called, empty without him, so I'd go anyway, shooting alone until my arms ached. One rainy evening he appeared like a ghost, hood up against the downpour, ball tucked under his arm. Missed you, he said simply, and we played through the storm, water sluicing off our skin, thunder rumbling approval. After, in his truck with the defroster blasting, he spilled it. Counseling ramped up, Sarah's hurt a living thing between them. She's trying to understand, Asked if I'm gay by what? I lied, said it's confusion. But Alex, every session I see us clearer. I can't go back. His hand found mine over the gearshift, wet and warm. Move in with me. After I tell her. We'll figure the kids, co-parent, whatever it takes. The words hung a lifeline or a noose. I searched his face, saw the resolve etched there and whispered, okay. We kissed then, slow and sealing, rain pattering like applause. But betrayal wears many masks. In October, during a rare double-shift break, I swung by the house unannounced. Impulse, really craving a glimpse of the man who'd upended my world. The driveway held Sarah's minivan and his truck, curtains drawn against the autumn chill. I parked down the block, heart foolishly light, imagining a family dinner I might one day join. Through the living room window, lit warm against the dusk, I saw them. Jordan and Sarah on the couch, her head on his shoulder, his arm around her like old times. Tyler sprawled on the floor with Legos. Mia curled in a blanket fort. Laughter floated out, genuine, easy, the kind built on years, not stolen hours. Then Jordan leaned down, kissing her forehead, lingering. Not passionate, but intimate. Home. My stomach plummeted. He hadn't told her. Hadn't chosen. And in that frozen moment, watching the life he'd sworn to upend play out in soft focus, I realized. I was the detour, the thrill, the secret he'd bury when the rubber met the road. I drove away, tires chewing gravel, tears blurring the taillights of minivans heading to soccer practice. That night I ghosted him. Phone silenced, cord abandoned. His calls piled up, voicemails raw with worry. Alex, talk to me. What's wrong? I deleted them all, the pain too fresh to dissect. A week later he cornered me at the warehouse loading dock. Face gaunt under the sodium lights. You saw, didn't you? The window, God, I'm sorry. It's not what you think. Isn't it? I spat, crates forgotten. You said you'd tell her. That we'd build something. I was going to. Tomorrow, swear it. But seeing you there, it hit me, the kids, Alex. Tyler asked about his basketball uncle that morning. How do I explain? His voice cracked, hands raking his hair. I need more time. Please. Time. The thief we'd both courted. I wanted to rage, to shove him against the chain link and demand the truth, but exhaustion won. How much, Jordan? A month? A year? Until the guilt wins. He pulled me into a shadowed corner, forehead to mine. Until I can do right by everyone. Including you. The kiss that followed was desperate. A plea wrapped in passion, but I broke it first, stepping back. Figure it out. But don't call until you have. He nodded, shattered, and walked into the night. I watched his truck fade, the warehouse lights buzzing like angry hornets in my chest. November's chill mirrored the frost between us. Sporadic texts, logistics mostly like Tyler's game at 4. Kept the thread alive, but the fire dimmed. I threw myself into community leagues, coaching at-risk kids from the east side, channeling the ache into jump shots and life lessons. Bounce back. I'd tell them after a miss. Life's full of do-overs. Hypocrite. Jordan's messages grew sparse, laced with domestic updates. Mia's preschool play, Sarah's promotion. No I love yous, just echoes. Then silence. 2 weeks into December, a group invite pinged my phone. Hayes family Christmas party. He declined, gut twisting. That night, alone with a six-pack and a Charlie Brown Christmas on loop, the dam broke. I wept for the man I'd glimpsed in the woods, the family I'd envied through glass, the love I'd dared to dream. New Year's Eve, the city erupted in fireworks over the river, but I spent it on the court, ball thumping in lonely rhythm. Footsteps crunched behind me. Jordan, breath fogging in the cold, bundled in a Pistons parka. Couldn't stay away, he admitted, snagging the ball for a lazy dribble. We played wordlessly, the new year ticking in distant cheers, until exhaustion dropped us to the bench. I'm leaving her, he said finally, voice steady as steel. Papers drawn up. Co-parenting plan in place. She knows about us. It was ugly, Alex. Screaming tears, the kids. But it's done. Relief ward with dread. And them. Hurt. Confused. But they'll heal. We all will. He took my hand, glove to glove. If you'll have me. I searched his eyes, saw the scars of battle there, and pulled him close. Always. But trust, once bent, doesn't snap back easy. As winter deepened, we navigated the fallout. Awkward handoffs at the rec center. Sarah's cool nods masking fresh wounds. Jordan moved into my apartment, his duffel's a bridge between worlds. Nights were tender rebuilds. Cooking pozole from my abuela's recipe, his arms around me as we swayed to Stevie Wonder. But mornings brought the ghosts. Calls from Tyler crying for daddy, Mia's drawings taped to the fridge like accusations. One February blizzard trapped us inside, cabin fever amplifying cracks. He paced, phone in hand, arguing custody logistics with Sarah's lawyer. I can't lose them, Alex. Halftime? That's not enough. His frustration boiled over, aimed at me. You don't get it, you've never had this. It's not just feelings, it's blood. The words landed like a shove. And what am I? A consolation prize. I stormed out into the whiteout, boots crunching to the corner store for smokes I didn't need. Hours later, thawing in a diner booth, I replayed it. The fear in his voice, the love beneath the lash. When he found me, snow-dusted and desperate, we talked till dawn. My abandonment scars, his terror of failing as a father. You're not second, he vowed, kissing my knuckles. You're the first real choice I've made. Spring renewal came slow, tentative. We blended lives carefully, introducing the kids to Alex the coach at neutral ground outings, ice cream in Clawson, museum trips to the DIA. Tyler warmed first, bonding over basketball drills. Mia claimed me with hugs that smelled of strawberry shampoo. Sarah and I even shared a coffee once post-drop-off, her eyes weary but kind. He was lost before you. Just be patient. For all of us. By summer's eve, the court bloomed again, our games now a family affair. Jordan and I would trade passes, kids cheering from the sidelines, Sarah occasionally waving from her car after pickup. It wasn't perfect, therapy sessions for him, co-parenting apps buzzing like fireflies, but it was ours. Human, messy, real. Yet fate, that cruel referee, had one more whistle. July's heat peaked like a fever dream, the kind where reality bends at the edges. Jordan and I had settled into a fragile equilibrium. Mornings tangled in sheets that still smelled of his old life. Evenings grilling on the balcony while Detroit's skyline smoldered orange. The kids split weeks seamlessly now, Tyler's chatter about fossils filling the gaps. Mia's bedtime stories a ritual I stumbled through with goofy voices. Jordan watched me with those hazel eyes, gratitude softening the lines around them. You're good at this, Rivera. Better than me some days. I waved it off, but inside it bloomed, belonging, tentative as a first bloom. We'd even started talking future. A bigger place in Corktown, maybe adopting a mutt from the shelter. The full package, he'd joke, nuzzling my neck. Sarah had thawed too, inviting us to Mia's birthday at the zoo neutral ground, her new boyfriend in tow. A mild-mannered accountant named Greg who bonded with Tyler over Pokemon cards. It felt like progress, like the pieces of our shattered mosaic were slotting back, jagged but whole. But undercurrents run deep in the Motor City, and ours was churning. Jordan's plant buddies, those grizzled vets with union pins and beer guts, started side-eyeing him at the taproom. Whispers slithered. Haze gone rainbow. With that warehouse spick. I overheard it once, picking up around, the words landing like shrapnel. He brushed it off. Small minds, babe. But I saw the flinch, the way he'd grip his pint tighter. Then came the letter, innocuous in its envelope. A custody petition from Sarah's lawyer. Not a revocation but a modification, seeking primary residence due to changed circumstances. Jordan's face drained when he read it aloud over coffee, voice hollow. They say I'm unstable. The divorce, the orientation. That it's not in the children's best interest to split time with a non-traditional household. Rage ignited in my gut. Hot and righteous. Bullshit. You've been dad of the year, games, school plays, the works. But doubt crept in, insidious. Was I the poison? The changed circumstance that tipped the scales? We lawyered up, a no-nonsense queer advocate from downtown who assured us. Michigan's progressive on paper but judges? Old school. Mediation sessions dragged. Sarah tearful across the table, Greg silent support. Jordan pleading his case with charts of visitation logs. They're my world, he'd say, voice cracking. I'd sit in the hall, thumbing through kids' drawings in my wallet, feeling like an intruder. The strain seeped home. Nights he'd withdraw, staring at the ceiling while I traced his scars. What if I lose them, Alex? What if I'm not enough? I'd pull him close, whispering affirmations, but sleep evaded us both. Our intimacy faltered. Kisses turning perfunctory, touches hesitant. The court, once sanctuary, echoed empty. Pickup games felt like punishment, every swish a reminder of what hung in the balance. August broke the dam. Tyler's league opener. I was there, cheering from the bleachers with Mia on my lap, pom-poms shaking. Jordan coached fierce, his whistle sharp, but halftime brought chaos. A parent, burly in a MAGA cap, cornering him by the water cooler. Teaching my boy it's okay to be a fairy now, Hayes? The words carried, heads turning. Jordan's fist clenched, but he walked away, for the kids, always for the kids. I confronted the guy later, words flying hot. Back off, asshole. It's a game, not a battlefield. Fists nearly followed, but refs pulled us apart. Jordan dragged me to the parking lot, storming. What the hell? You could have gotten arrested. Custody hearings in 2 weeks. And you just take it? I shot back, adrenaline surging. Let them poison everything? It's strategy, Alex. Keep it clean, win on facts. His eyes flashed, frustration boiling over. You think this is easy? Waltzing in as the new guy while I bleed for my family. Your family. The accusation slipped, venomous. What am I then? The side hustle. He recoiled as if slapped. That's not fair. You know it's not. Silence stretched, cars idling around us like judgmental witnesses. Maybe we need space. Till the hearing. The words gutted me. Space? After everything. For them. For us to survive this. He drove off, taillights vanishing into the dusk, leaving me stranded in a sea of minivans. The next days blurred into isolation, my apartment echoing without his boots by the door, the fridge stocked for 2 now mocking me with leftovers. I crashed at a buddy's, threw myself into overtime, the warehouse's roar drowning doubts. But nights brought dreams. Jordan's laugh on the court, Mia's tiny hand in mine, Tyler's proud grin after a goal. Waking alone tasted like failure. Then betrayal's ugly head. A week before the hearing, scrolling X during a smoke break, numb habit, I stumbled on it. A thread from one of Jordan's plant pals, timestamp 2 a.m. after a bar crawl. Grainy photo attached. Jordan, arm around Sarah at some dive, her laughing into his shoulder, timestamp from 2 nights prior. Caption. Hayes back where he belongs? Family first, real men. My vision tunneled. The date lined up, he claimed a late shift. Texted a heart emoji goodnight. But there he was, reconciling? Or worse, playing both sides. I drove to the bar that afternoon, off shift, pulse thundering. The bartender remembered. Yeah, Hayes and his ex, old-time sake shots and stories. Looked cozy, but she left with her new fella. Cozy. The word clawed. I confronted Jordan that evening, bursting into his temporary rental. A sterile 1-bed near the plant. Printout thrust like evidence. Explain this. He stared, color leaching. It's not Alex, listen. Sarah called, hysterical. Tyler heard the playground shit, came home crying. We met to strategize, unite front for the kids. 1 drink turned to 2, nostalgia hit. But nothing happened. I swear. Swear. I laughed, bitter. Like you swore you'd choose? That the sauna was the start, not a pit stop. Hurt flickered in his eyes. I have chosen. Every day. But this custody war, it's killing me. Us. Then end it. Walk away clean. My voice broke. Or admit I'm the mistake you're fixing. He reached for me, desperate. Never. You're the truth I was blind to. But I shrugged him off, the photo burning between us. The hearing dawned crisp, courtroom sterile as a morgue. I sat in the back, uninvited but compelled. Moral support turned spectator. Jordan, suited stiff, testified with quiet fire. Bedtime routines, school pickups, the love that transcended labels. Sarah countered softly, tears glistening. He's a good dad. But the instability, the public scrutiny, it's hurting them. Exhibits flashed. The bar photo, anonymous complaints from the league, even a neighbor's affidavit on inappropriate displays at drop-offs. The judge, a silver-haired holdover from Reagan's era, peered over bifocals. Mr. Hayes, your lifestyle choices are your own. But priority is the children's welfare. Pending evaluation, custody to Ms. Hayes primary, with generous visitation. Jordan's face crumpled, a dam breached. Sarah's hand found his across the aisle, commiseration, not victory. I slipped out before closing, the hallway blurring with unshed tears. Outside, under a leaden sky, I waited by his truck, resolve hardening. He emerged alone, shoulders bowed. Alex! Don't! I held up a hand. You need to focus. On them. Really? What does that mean? Fear etched his voice. It means I'm stepping back. For real this time. The words tasted like bile but necessary. Fix your family, Jordan. Be the dad they need. Without the complication. His eyes widened, shattering. You think that's what I want? Losing you. It's what they need. I stepped closer, memorizing his face. The scar, the gold flecks, the man who'd awakened me. And maybe what you do too. He grabbed my shirt, pulling me into a fierce final kiss, salt and sorrow mingling. This isn't over. But as I walked away, city buses rumbling past, I wondered if love's greatest act was sometimes letting go. Fall stripped the trees bare, mirroring my hollowed core. Jordan's text came in waves. Please updates, photos of the kids' Halloween haul. I replied sparingly. Proud of you. Take care. The court stayed my haunt, ball thumping like a metronome to loneliness. Warehouse shifts blurred into therapy sessions, unpacking the abandonment loop I'd danced since 15. You're worthy, my counselor said, of a love that chooses you first. Thanksgiving alone was brutal, posole from a can, TV flickering with parades. But mid-meal, a knock, Jordan, pie in hand, kids peeking from the truck. Sarah's got a cold. Thought we'd crash your feast. Tyler barreled in with a hug, Mia trailing a stuffed dinosaur. We ate on paper plates, laughter tentative but real, Jordan's foot nudging mine under the table. A question. After bedtime stories, kids conked out on the couch, he pulled me to the balcony. I miss you. Every damn day. His voice was raw, wind whipping his collar. Sarah and I were done for good. Co-parenting clean. But us. I want to try. For real. Hope flickered, fragile. And the fallout? The looks, the whispers. We face it. Together. He cupped my face, thumb tracing my lip. If you'll let me. I leaned in, forehead to his. Slowly. For them. For us. He nodded, sealing it with a kiss soft as snowfall. Winter wove us tighter. Visitation nights turned sleepovers, the apartment alive with chaos and joy. Tyler taught me chess. Mia finger-painted rainbows on the walls. Jordan and I rebuilt intimacy in stolen moments. Slow dances in the kitchen to Al Green. Hikes in the Hines Park where he'd weave wildflowers into my hair. Sarah even joined a family skate night, Greg skating circles with Mia, her smile genuine. We're all figuring it out, she said over cocoa, clinking mugs with me. But climax loomed unbidden. March brought the league playoffs, Jordan coaching Tyler's team to the finals. The gym buzzed, parents packed, banners flapping. We sat together, my hand in his under the bleachers, a quiet claim. Halftime, score tied. The burly dad from before cornered us in the lobby, beer on his breath despite the no alcohol sign. This your fairy godfather, Hayes? Poisoning the well. Jordan stepped forward, calm steel. Walk away, Mike. For your kid's sake. Mike sneered, shoving Jordan's shoulder. Or what? Gonna cry to your boyfriend? I surged, fists balled, but Jordan held me back, one arm firm. Enough. To Mike. My life's my business. Yours too. Get your head in the game. Security hauled Mike out, but the damage rippled. Whispers swelling, Sarah shooting worried glances from the other side. Tyler's team won in overtime, buzzer beater glory. But the celebration soured when a teammate's parent pulled Tyler aside, hissing, "Don't let the gay coach hug you, kid." Jordan overheard, face ashen. In the parking lot, amid high fives, he knelt to Tyler's level. Hey buddy. That stuff? It's noise. Love's love. Doesn't change who scores the winning shot. Tyler nodded, fierce, hugging him tight. But as we drove home, Jordan's grip on the wheel whitened. I can't let them hurt him. Because of me. That night, over whiskey, the fight erupted. Not at each other but at the world. We move, he declared. Chicago, better job market, stronger protections. Fresh start. And run. I challenged, though fear echoed it. Not run. Rebuild. His eyes burned. For all of us. I agreed, the decision a pivot. But betrayal's shadow lingered. Sarah called next morning, voice trembling. Greg's ex is stirring shit. claims Jordan's lifestyle influenced the custody push. It's escalating. The real knife came days later. An anonymous email to Jordan's lawyer, forwarded in panic. Attached, screenshots of our texts, intimate ones, miss your touch, love you more. Hacked from his phone? Stolen? Timestamped during a custody eval week. Evidence of manipulation, the note sneered. Hayes using the relationship to sway sympathy. Jordan's roar echoed through the apartment. Who? Sarah. No, she wouldn't. But doubt poisoned it. We traced it, burner account untraceable. Plant rival? League bigot? The hearing loomed supplemental, judge demanding explanations. Accusation flew in mediation, Sarah defensive. I'd never. Greg shifting uncomfortably. Jordan grilled her, voice laced with hurt. If not you, who? She met his eyes steady. Believe me or don't. But fight fair for the kids. I believed her. The fracture was external, a bigot's bomb. But trust, that fragile thread, frayed further. Nights Jordan withdrew, phone paranoia rampant. What if it's you? He whispered once, half asleep terror. Protecting me from myself? The word stung, a betrayal imagined. Never, I vowed, but sleep fled. April showers brought the storm. Emergency hearing, the email entered as exhibit. Judge's gavel fell heavy. Visitation suspended pending investigation. Jordan shattered in the courthouse bathroom, sobbing into my shoulder. I lost them. Because of us.
No. Y fierza whisperat.
Because of hate. We'll appeal. Fight. But as we emerged, Sarah waiting with tissues for him, her hand on his arm, comforting, familiar. I saw the chasm. He needed her stability now, the co-parent fortress against the fray. Me? I was the lightning rod drawing the strikes. That night he packed a bag for her place. Temporary base till we sort this. His kiss goodbye was ash. I love you. This changes nothing. But everything had. Summer's promise curdled into a siege. Visitation suspended meant Jordan bunkered at Sarah's, a platonic truce in the colonial house that once echoed their vows. I'd get updates via text, Tyler's homeschool struggles, Mia's nightmares of daddy gone. Each ping a dagger twist. My apartment, once vibrant with their chaos, echoed hollow, the balcony grill cold as regret. Warehouse overtime became refuge, the clang of metal a mantra. Endure, endure. Jordan and I clung to fragments, midnight calls where his voice rasped with exhaustion. Our love distilled to whispers across the ether. Miss your laugh in the kitchen, he'd say. I'd counter with dreams of road trips, just us and the kids winding through the Badlands. But reality gnawed. The investigation dragged, detectives interviewing league parents, tracing the email's IP to a VPN dead end. Suspects mounted. Mike the bigot, a jealous coworker, but no smoking gun. Sarah became unlikely ally. Coffee meetups at neutral bean shops where she'd slide case updates over lattes. Greg's pissed, thinks it's his ex stirring, she'd confide, stirring sugar like secrets. Her eyes, once wary, softened with shared battle. Jordan's a mess. Blames himself. I'd nod, swallowing envy at her front row seat to his unraveling. We're in this together, she'd add, surprising me. For them. One July evening, post-interview fatigue, Jordan showed at my door. Unshaven, eyes shadowed, but alive with urgency. Walk with me. We wandered Mexican town, taqueria lights casting golden halos, his hand brushing mine in shadowed alleys. I can't do this half in, he said, stopping under a mural of revolutionary heroes. The separation, it's killing me. Us. Then come home. The words escaped raw plea. I will. After. He pulled a velvet box from his pocket, simple silver bands, engraved with our initials intertwined. Not marriage, not yet legally. But promise. You and me against the storm. Tears pricked as he slid it on, cool metal warming to my skin. We made love that night in my bed, slow and reclaiming, bodies mapping the miles we drifted. Dawn brought resolve. We'd testify, expose the hate, win back the time stolen. But betrayal doubled down. August scorched and the leak hit. A local rags blog post. Custody drama rocks Ferndale. Gay dad's affair sparks scandal? Screenshots embedded. Our texts twisted with innuendo. Evidence of grooming the children via sports. The byline? Freelance hack with ties to Mike's auto shop. Outrage exploded. X threads ablaze, league parents picketing the rec center. Protect our kids signs waving like pitchforks. Jordan's phone rang nonstop. Death threats, union reps distancing, even Tyler's school calling about concerned inquiries. He holed up at Sarah's, fortressing the kids while I fielded my own shrapnel. Warehouse whispers turning to slurs, homewrecker scrawled on my locker. One night, post-shift, tires slashed in the lot, rainbow sticker keyed to oblivion. Cops shrugged. Hate crime backlog. The climax crested at the appellate hearing. Courtroom packed with allies. Queer activists in solidarity sashes, Sarah and Greg flanking Jordan like sentinels. I testified, first voice steady on the stand, recounting our meeting on the court, the organic bloom of love, the stability we'd built. It's not scandal, I said, meeting the judge's gaze. It's family. Modern, messy but real. Jordan followed unflinching. The bar photo debunked as strategy, the emails unmasked via digital forensics, a plant pal's confession, guilt-tripped by conscience. I hid who I was for years, he admitted, voice carrying. Hurt everyone. But Alex, he's the honesty I needed. And my kids deserve parents who fight for truth, not shadows. Sarah's turn sealed it, poised, unflappable. Jordan's their father. The leak? It hurt us all. But division helps no one. Her testimony pivoted. Joint custody petition, equal time, no modifications. We're co-parents. Lovers or not, that's unbreakable. The judge recessed, hours ticking like heartbeats. When she returned, gavel poised. Evidence supports reversal. Full joint custody restored, with protections against harassment. Case closed. The room exhaled, hugs, tears, Sarah clinking water glasses with Jordan and rye toast. Outside, media scrummed, but we slipped away, convoy to the court, Tyler's first, ball in hand. We won, Dad, he yelled, launching into arms. Mia toddled over, clutching my leg. Uncle Alex play? We did, impromptu game under streetlights, laughter drowning the sirens. Jordan pulled me aside mid-swish, ring glinting. Told you. Against the storm. But humanism's quiet thunder rolled next. September's equinox brought reckoning. Mike, the leaker source, faced charges, hate crime enhancement, union expulsion. In the fallout, he cornered Jordan at a neutral park, not with fists but folded pride. I was scared, man. For my boy. Thought. Wrong. Apology clumsy but real, sparked by his own kid coming out as bi, a mirror cracked. Jordan forgave, public. Hate blinds us. Love opens eyes. The story trended, not scandal but bridge, local news featuring Tyler's team. Rainbow laces in unity. For us, normalcy crept back, scarred but stronger. Jordan reclaimed the apartment, kids' rooms painted afresh. Dinosaur murals for Ty, unicorn decals for Mia. Date nights resumed. Tigers games, his arm around me in the stands, unashamed. Sarah's wedding to Greg in October. I stood as Jordan's +1, toasting in the garden, her veil catching fireflies. Thanks for loving him whole, she whispered, bouquet brush. Yet emotions' underbelly stirred. One crisp November Eve, post-Thanksgiving feast at our place. Tables groaning with turkey and tamales, Sarah's pie alongside my abuela's flan. Jordan found me on the balcony, city twinkling below. Kids asleep inside, laughter fading. Penny, he prompted, sliding beside. I hesitated, ring heavy. That night in the woods, the promise saved us. But what if? What if the next leak, the next bigot? What if love's cost proved too steep? He turned me gently, hazel eyes steady. Then we pay it. Together. His kiss was anchored, deep and declarative. You're my family, Alex. Chosen, fought for. Worth every scar. Winter wrapped us gentle, holidays blended. Hanukkah candles with Sarah's kin. Christmas Eve Mass where Mia clutched my hand during carols. New Year's on the court. Ball dropped with cheers, confetti from torn jerseys. Spring bloom tentative. Plant promotions for Jordan. My fix-up house dream inching via savings. We broke ground in May. Kids wielding plastic shovels in the dirt of Corktown. Skyline promising. But the arc bent toward quiet revelation. June solstice, anniversary of our first game, Jordan planned surprise. Blindfolded drive to the old court, now repaved via community grant. Our grant, anonymous donation from league allies. Unfolding the cloth, I saw the plaque. Alex and Jordan Court. Where paths cross, hearts collide. Kids unveiled it, ribbons fluttering. He knelt then, not proposal but vow renewal, rings exchanged under dogwoods. He had a family, 2 kids. And then you. Best detour ever. Laughter bubbled, tears salting it. Sarah snapped photos from the sidelines, Greg corralling the chaos. In that moment under Michigan's sun I saw it. Not bi or tragic but human tapestry. Woven from betrayal's threads, conflicts, knots, love's enduring stitch. We played till dusk, ball arcing true, lives intertwined. Yet the story's heart pulsed deeper. In the unspoken. Jordan's journal found months later tucked in a drawer. Entries scrawled in his blocky hand. Alex taught me courage isn't grand gestures but showing up, scars bare. For him I'd court the world again. Flipped pages. Letters to the kids, future dated. Love isn't who you love but how deep. Uncle Alex? He's the depth. Mine unwritten but felt. Redemption and release, the boy who'd lost roots now grafting new. America, flawed forge, rust and gleam had hammered us, but we emerged, not unbroken but beautifully bent. Summer waned, court shadows lengthening. One evening, post-game cool down. Jordan draped an arm over my shoulder. Kids scampering ahead. Ready for round 2? He teased, nodding to the horizon. Always, I grinned, leaning in. Paths crossed once. Now they converged, endless court ahead. Autumn's palette painted Detroit in fire. Oaks ablaze along Woodward Avenue, the air crisp with promise and decay. Our court townhouse settled into rhythm. Creaks familiar, walls echoing with Tyler's video game cheers and Mia's off-key renditions of Frozen anthems. Jordan's promotion meant stability. Senior line supervisor. Benefits covering family therapy that knit our patchwork closer. I traded warehouse grit for a community center gig. Coaching youth leagues where rainbow wristbands outnumbered side eyes. Bounce back. I drill the kids, ball in hand. From misses, from fouls. Life's overtime. But emotions simmer, undercurrents pulling at healed seams. October brought Tyler's school project. A family tree, poster board sprawling with photos. Jordan and Sarah's wedding clip. My abuela's faded Polaroid airmailed from Texas. Even Greg's awkward grin from a barbecue. Tyler taped it proudly, but bedtime confessional cracked open. Are you and Dad? Like Mom and Greg? Married. Jordan fielded it gentle, perched on the bunk's edge. Not married, can't legally yet. But together? Yeah, bull. Partners in the big game. Tyler mulled, dinosaur blanket clutched. Cool. As long as you keep winning. Laughter lightened it, but Jordan's eyes met mine later, over chamomile steam. He's processing. We all are. Sarah's influence lingered benevolent. Weekly dinners at her place, where Greg's marinara rivaled my pozole, stories swapping like recipes. One night, post-pasta, she pulled me into the study, door clicked soft. Therapy breakthrough, she shared, voice low. Forgave him the hiding. Myself too. You? Part of that grace. Gratitude choked me. Didn't earn it. You did. By loving fierce. Her hug was brief, sisterly. Sealing a truce born of shared trenches. November's chill ushered gratitude circles. Thanksgiving expanded, tables bridged with her mother's yams and my cousin's trek from Chicago. Toasts rang, Jordan's to chosen families, Sarah's to second chances, mine slurred in Spanglish to the court that called us home. Kids clinked juice glasses, oblivious to the miracle. Yet drama's echo resounded in December. A leak scandal redux, Mike's old crew exposed in a harassment ring, federal probe snaring emails laced with slurs. Jordan testified downtown, voice steady on the stand. Hate's a weak defense. Love wins the series. Front page hero, but night sweats followed. Flashbacks to the suspension, kids' bewildered faces. I'd hold him then, murmuring mantras from our hikes. You're the coach. Call the plays. Christmas Eve mass blended faiths. Candlelight flickering on Jordan's profile. Mia's halo askew, Tyler's fidgety awe. Post-service, snow-dusted drive home, carols crooning. He squeezed my hand at a red light. This, us, them. It's the gift I never unwrapped. Home tree aglow with mismatched ornaments, we tucked kids in with stories of 3 ghosts and redemption arcs. New Year's dawned reflective, ball drop on TV, but we opted courtside, bonfire crackling against January's bite. Tyler launched fireworks, Mia danced sparks, Jordan pulled me into waltz under stars. Resolution, he prompted, breath fogging. More of this, I said, spinning him clumsy. Less hiding. Done. Kiss sealed it, fireworks bursting approval. Winter thawed slow, February's Valentine's a quiet rebellion. No chocolates but a scrapbook, court clippings, kid drawings, our rings magnified on yellowed newsprint. Our story, he presented, voice thick. I added a page. Ultrasound print from a future dream, placeholder for the family we'd grow. Adoption papers pending. His tears salted the laminate. Spring surge brought bloom, Tyler's travel team tryouts. Me assistant coaching, Jordan head. Practices under budding elms, his whistle syncing our worlds. Mia's preschool graduation, tiny cap and gown, her speech on helpers. Daddy and Alex fix boo-boos. Mommy and Greg make cakes. Applause thundered, our eyes meeting across folding chairs. Love's quiet victory. But humanism's depth plumbed in May, a curveball from left field. Jordan's dad, estranged ghost from Ohio, surfaced via letter. Heard about the changes. Want to meet the grandkids. And you. Wariness warred with curiosity. We drove to Toledo, kids buckled, hearts armored. The farmhouse sagged, but his handshake was firm. Eyes, Jordan's hazel mirrored, soft with regret. Missed my boys' games. Won't miss these. Over pot roast, confessions flowed. His own hidden bisexuality, buried under factory macho, wife's death unmasking loneliness. Thought I was broken. Seeing you whole? Heals old wounds. Tyler quizzed him on tractors. Mia claimed his lap. Driving back, Jordan exhaled decades' weight. Forgiveness isn't erasure. It's space. June's solstice circled the court anniversary. Plaque polished, game invitational with Sarah's crew, Greg sinking threes to cheers. Post-match picnic, blanket spread, stories spun. How paths crossed, detours diverged, converged stronger. Tyler, now 8, cornered me by the fence. Uncle Alex, you gonna marry Dad? I ruffled his hair. Working on it. You cool. Duh. He smiles more with you. Wisdom from babes. Summer peaked, house alive. Backyard slip-and-slide wars, neighborhood barbecues where rainbow flags fluttered beside American. Jordan and I stole mornings. Coffee on the porch, his head on my shoulder, city awakening. What now? He'd muse. Everything, I'd reply. The sequel. Yet the arc's humanism crested in quiet epiphany. August, during a family hike in the Irish hills. Mia twisted an ankle. Trailside tears, Jordan scooping her. Me fashioning a splint from twigs. Sarah met us at the trailhead. Ice pack ready, Greg distracting Ty with trail mix. In the air weight, fluorescent hum underscoring, she leaned to me. We're a village. Messy but mighty. Discharged with a pink cast, Mia dubbed unicorn armor. We caravanned home, dinner joint, laughter over fries. Jordan caught my eye across the booth, gratitude glowing. Later, kids abed, he traced my ring. You built this. With us. We did. Kiss deepened, bodies aligning like old teammates. Fall returned, cycles eternal, Tyler's school play. Me in front row, tears as he hammed Hamlet's ghost. Thanksgiving redux, tables groaning fuller. Winter's hush brought wonder. Adoption approval pinged, paperwork for a sibling, foster to adopt. A toddler boy with Jordan's curl and my dimple dream. Spring's court bloomed anew, plaque witness to games generational. Ty coaching Mia's mini-league, Jordan and I spotting from benches. One dusk, post-swish, he pulled me aside, box in pocket. Official this time, courthouse elopement planned. Marry me? For real, rings and rice. Knees hit gravel. Yes. 1,000. Ceremony small. Sarah matron, Greg best man, kids ring bearers in tiny suits. Vows exchanged under the backboard. In sickness, in swishes. Till death do us hoop. Laughter sealed it, cake smashed with glee. Years folded like highlights. Toddler Theo's first steps on the court, Ty's high school scholarship, Mia's prom with her girlfriend, Sarah's second kid with Greg. A blended brood unbreakable. Jordan's gray-threaded gold. My tattoos faded but fervent. Weed-weathered betrayals. Leaks, losses, doubts. Emerging not unscathed but scarred beautiful. One July Eve, paths full circle. Empty court at twilight, ball shared lazy. Remember the slam? He grinned, rebounding. Chest shot of my life. I stole it, fade away swishing clean. He pulled me close, sun dipping. Best play ever. In America's Heartland Forge, we'd scored the impossible. Love unapologetic, enduring. Human after all.